And so now, as we look at how to study the Bible with that in mind, one of the first places I think we ought to go to is a proper understanding of the Old and New Testaments. Now, what testament are we under? I've heard a lot of folks say, I go by the whole Bible, but what do you mean you go by the whole Bible? Because God has never had man under two laws at the same time. We're either under the Old Testament or the New Testament. Let's check the book. In the book of Matthew chapter 5, I'd like to start here. Matthew chapter 5, around verse 17 and verse number 18. And let's notice what the Bible says. Matthew chapter 5, and let's notice around verse number 17 and around verse number 18. And let's see what we might discover here. In Matthew chapter 5, Jesus says something tremendous. Watch what he says. At verse number 17, and I don't mean that in such a way that there's some things that Jesus does not say that are tremendous, that are of tremendous value or weight. But I want to share with you the idea that comes out from what Jesus says to us. It's very significant. Watch what he says. He says, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Now watch this. Folk miss this point oftentimes. He says, not only I didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets, but my purpose was and is I've come to fulfill the law and the prophets. And now he says at verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till, that has reference to a period of time, a portion of time, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. And so he says there will be no small thing in regard to anything interfering with the law or passing from the law till all be fulfilled. So what is that saying? When whatever is being fulfilled is fulfilled, then something else will take place. So again, remember, not only does he say, I didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets, he also says, I've come to fulfill the law and the prophets. Well, what do you mean by that, Jesus? Well, let's find Jesus talking about that a little later. Let's check the book. In the book of Luke chapter 24, beginning around verse number 44, Jesus talks to his disciples. It is a time now when Jesus has already been crucified, buried, and rose from the grave. And now he comes back to meet with his disciples. Watch what the Bible says. In Luke chapter 24, around verse number 44, Jesus utters these words. He says to them, and he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must, watch this, must be fulfilled, which were what written in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me. So Jesus says to them, I want you to understand what has occurred. You see me, but yet you saw me suffer. And yes, I died and I was buried, but I'm back. But what I want to share with you, this was something that was written concerning me in the law of Moses, by the prophets, and also in the Psalms. And what I had to do is fulfill those things that were written about me. And the last things that were written about me to be fulfilled was I had to die. I was buried, and I got up from the grave the third day. Let's check the book. In the book of Deuteronomy, if you're at chapter 18, around verse 15, watch what the law of Moses said about Jesus. Let's check the book. In Deuteronomy, if you would, at chapter number 18, And the verse is verse number 15. Here is a prophecy concerning Jesus that was written in the law of Moses. Watch what the Bible says. In Deuteronomy chapter 18, around verse number 15, we find these words. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like it unto me, unto him ye shall hearken. And so the Old Testament had said, in regard to the law of Moses, when we look at those books, that God would raise up a prophet. This prophet would come from among his brethren, from the Jewish nation, among their brethren, as Moses talks to the children of Israel. And it is this prophet that God will raise up that folk would need to listen to. Remember, Jesus says on one occasion, I am the way, I'm the truth, and I'm the life, and nobody can get to the Father but by me. But not only in the law was things written concerning Jesus that had to be fulfilled, but also in the prophets wrote about him. Let's check the book. In the book of Isaiah chapter 53, and let's begin around verse number 1. Let's check the book. In Isaiah 53, beginning around verse number 1, a prophecy is written concerning Jesus, the anointed one, the one that would be the Savior of the world, how he would actually die. In Isaiah 53, around verse number 1, we find these words. Who hath believed our report? And of whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before the shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. So there were things written in the law of Moses. There were things written by the prophets, and there were things also written in the Psalms that he fulfilled.